Hello, and welcome to another Red Dragon review. I'm Akai Kami Ryu, and I present to you my review. Today I am going to be reviewing a novel series that I've read. Well, I wouldn't say I've read the entire series because I haven't collected all the books for it yet. I've only collected the first 9. And I have to say, it is one of the better reads I have ever read. One of the better series I've ever read. I haven't gotten this engrossed in a storyline since one of my very first stories back when I was in middle school, which was nearly 20 years ago. Yeah, I'm an old fart. Anyways, back to the review. The review I am doing today is Vampire Hunter D. Now, I bet several of you just saw that and were like, wait a second, wasn't that a movie? Yes, it was. Back in 1989, Vampire Hunter D was an animated movie. However, this movie was an adaptation of the first book. There was also a sequel, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, that was produced and released back in 2001. This was based around the third book. And I say both of these were based on them because they changed certain events and characters. Well, anytime you do an adaptation from a book to a movie, the director has some creative license with that. Take a look at Harry Potter. That's all I want to say. Anyways, the stories are great. If you've seen either one of the movies, pick up the book. If you've seen the first movie, pick up the first book. Trust me, it is good. It is worth the read. If you've seen Bloodlust, still pick up the first book and then read the third. You can kind of skip the second one. It's not one of my favorites. I'm not going to lie. Each novel is its own arc. Each one has a start and a finish. So you can basically read each one individually without any real knowledge of the events of the previous stories. Except for I think it was either the fourth or the fifth, where a character made a reference to the first book. It's a bit of a spoiler, but it's a minor thing where unless you were looking for it, you would miss it. Unless you would possibly glaze over it without even realizing, wait a minute, wasn't that? Yes, it was. Well, at least that's what happened with me. Anyways, the story, I'm pretty sure some of you noticed a very familiar style of artwork with this. Even though that's the cover to the 9th book, the artwork is done by Yoshitaka Amano. Any true gamer knows Yoshitaka Amano did the character concept artwork for the Final Fantasy series. That's right. He does the cover artwork for all the Vampire Hunter D novels. And there's actually some illustrations throughout the novel, which are pretty cool. Except for the fact that they are not colored and they are primarily black and white. So it looks more like an ink painting, more so than an illustration. But that's whatever. It's an interesting idea to see his designs on characters when you get a chance to see them, or even some of the monsters. Now I've been rambling on about the content, but I haven't actually told those who have no idea what Vampire Hunter D is. Well, allow me to tell you. Vampire D is a vampire hunter. Kind of self-explanatory there. He is a Damkil, a half-breed, meaning he is half vampire, half human. Kind of like Blade. For those of you who want a more modern reference, or more popular reference. So his main purpose is to kill other vampires. However, most of the time he will only involve himself in another vampire if he is hired to do so. Other times he more or less just has his own agenda and goes about his business. And he is strong. He is incredibly powerful. And I can't really get into how strong he is without really getting into comparative storytelling. Well, I don't know what I call it competitive storytelling, but without revealing certain events and situations in stories. So it will get to spoiler points. But I highly recommend these for people who want to read. Also, before I forget, they have a manga adaptation has come out. And these manga adaptations pretty much go verbatim by the novels. So if you want to be able to get an overall idea of what the story is like, pick up the mangas. If you really want to get into it, like any good reader should, pick up the novels. I highly recommend them. I lent out my first novel to all my friends who would read it, and they all enjoyed it. All of them had already seen the movie adaptation, but they said the book was just as good. Like I said, read it and come up with your own opinions, like I do with all my other stuff. All right? I hope I got you interested in a new novel. And there are older generations saying kids aren't reading enough. Well, here's a book that would, if I came across it when I was younger, I would be dead set on reading it. I still am, but this would be a book that I would not put down. This is a book series that I do not put down. I read until I finish. All right. I hope I got you interested to at least check it out. All right. Till next time, this is Akai Kami Ryu signing off.